Good Saturday morning, everyone. So, I'm out here a little bit earlier. I've been out here for a while. You can see how unhappy Apollo is with me. I've been out here for a while, working, doing some stuff. But I figured that I would get this video knocked out before I got inside where the AC is and comfortable and cool and everything. So, yeah, big things coming here in just a couple minutes for you guys. Big change. So, I got my super chilies here. Got that guy, that right there, that little one there, that one, and that one. And that's a super. Those are all my, well, not all of them. There's also that one. We'll get to that guy in a minute. These guys are getting lots of little buds on them, which you can see right there. There's two of them right there. And between all of these other ones, there are a bunch of little buds starting and teeny tiny little peppers going, which is cool. And I'm excited for that. No peppers yet on that guy. That's okay. My serranos, I hope they're serranos. They're doing all right. This guy's doing not too bad. I mean, you're looking at, what, 6 inches? And then this super chili, one of the smallest, has actually got 2 little peppers on it already. So, hooray for that. That's nice. I keep these around, and I kept them from last year because my wife is just tickled by them. 3, look at that. That one I got my, sorry, down the arm shot there. My wife likes the fact that they grow up through the plant, or through the foliage, because you know most fruit hang down. These ones and a few other varieties, but these just happen to be the ones that I bought. They grow up through like that because they were an ornamental pepper. They're not actually, they were never engineered, I guess. They were never meant for flavor. They were meant for pretty. So they don't have a lot of flavor. They've got a fair amount of heat, especially if you're not big on peppers. They got a fair amount of heat. They add a lot of peppery flavor, but not a lot of flavor outside of that. But they're pretty because when you get a full bush pepper going and it's got a whole bunch of little red things sticking up out of it, it's bright and colorful and cheerful and people love it. My wife being among them. So, moving on, my bell peppers. I told you guys I'd have something big. This isn't it. My bell peppers are tall plants. Like, those things are, 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall. But I've got no flowers, no signs of growth of any kind. They're growing tall, and they're growing some monstrous pepper leaves. Although I suppose, thinking of it now, given the size of the fruit that I'm expecting, because a bell pepper, like, you hold that like a baseball. So maybe that explains why they have big leaves, because like cucumbers and stuff like that have huge leaves to cover their huge plants, or their huge fruit. So maybe that's what's going on here. My Portugals, the peppers that have been doing the best. But, I mean, you can see how much sun they're already getting. Like, it's nuts. Anyway, this plant has surprised me over the last week. Because I don't think these were here last week. And look how long this thing already is. If anything, last week, this one was only about as long as this one here. That's why I didn't notice it. And again, no, I haven't pulled the weeds over here because, erosion and, give the bugs something else to eat maybe, but it doesn't seem to be working that way. But we also have a lot of birds because we have a lot of trees. So birds come in and eat the bugs a lot. Like I constantly see blackbirds back up in here. Hey, that's rude. That's rude. Stop it. This guy is doing good. Hera, be nice. This guy's doing good. This is the one that's been producing the most of all my Portugals, of all my peppers, of everything. I don't know if you, for those of you that have watched my other videos, these three, this one back here, this one, and this one, these peppers have been hanging out here for like 3 weeks. They still have not started to turn. They've got to start turning soon, right? And they're getting pretty firm. I can feel that there are seeds in there. So they got to start turning soon because these things ripen to red. So they're not ready yet. But if you look, I've got a pepper there. I've got a pepper back there. I've got one starting here. I've got one growing here. I've got another one here. I've got one hanging down here. Now you remember, I did have one down here that was just a little ways from the ground. Well, my birthday was the other day, and I had some people, well, I had one guy over who likes peppers, and look, I got another big one back here. He likes peppers. He's one of those guys that does those hot sauce challenges. I don't know if any of you know about the hot ones, but you know, he does the hot ones challenges with some guys he works with. And so I knew he'd want some hot peppers because, you know, who that likes hot stuff doesn't like fresh hot peppers. So even though it wasn't done, like it was just as green as this is, no red at all, no yellow, no nothing. Even though it wasn't ready yet, I cut it off because I didn't want it to rot on the ground because it was sitting on the ground almost. And I cut it off, took it in there, and I cut it into thirds, gave the very tip, like, it was basically this big. I gave like this much to my brother-in-law, because he lives with us, he was here. There were no seeds down here. I gave him that. I gave like this much to the other guy, and I took up here, because, you know, it's mine, so I should, you know, eat from there. Because the heart's up here, and, or not the heart, kind of the heart. I think they, what is it, Wheeler told me? The placenta, I think, is actually what they call it. But that's where all the heat is, the seeds and the placenta, which is where the seeds usually hang on to. And my brother-in-law ate his little end. He just popped the whole thing in his mouth, and he was like, "Oh, I don't feel any heat." And me and the other guy are like, "No, these are hot." And so I'm like, "You know what? Here," because I only took a bite off of this. And so I passed him down the what was left, and he took a bite off of that, and he chewed on it for a second. And the first word we hear him say is "no." And I'm like, this guy is not about to tell me that this is not hot. You know, because I am still the hot pepper eater in the house. You know, that's the whole reason why we have all these. These and Wheeler. And so I'm about to call him out on that. And half a second later, he says, "Never again." And so he realized that my peppers are hot. And I don't think he's ever going to eat one of my hot peppers by itself ever again. And the sad thing is, these are not the hottest ones I'm growing this year. But anyway, that story's over. Waste a little bit of time. Sorry. These guys, I haven't even really dug in here to look to see if I've got anything really growing, because they have shaded out most of the weeds around here. But I haven't seen any signs of anything of any size growing. But, you know, just letting the compost stuff grow. Whatever. So there's that. And then I've got a couple of other, you know, Portugal plants that are still hanging in there. And that little guy that exploded out of nowhere, that's doing alright. My heaping compost bin. My teeny tiny Fatale. Down here. See him? This guy. That little guy. I don't know. These guys, same thing. Nothing's really come of it yet that I've seen, but I'm not searching too hard. This is more like if the will of the compost pile decides that I get some melons out of that, that's cool. If not, oh well, because I didn't plant them. This is that Cherokee purple that I have no idea what I'm doing wrong with. I don't even know. Like, it gets water, because I watered everything this morning, like always. It gets plenty of sun, because, I mean, oh, what time is it? It's 8:19. It's not even 8:30, and it's already getting, you know, sun. And it's not going to stop getting sun until afternoon. I don't know what's going on with it. This is my Fatale, which I now have a blossom. I don't know what that word was. I have a blossom on this plant now. I think before long I'll start getting buds on that one. Our grape tomatoes are still putting out, still producing, so we got that. Our Roma, we actually picked that one. That big one that was hanging down here. We picked it because it turned red. And now, as tends to happen, we've got that one and that one. I thought I had another one, but still, that tends to happen. When you pick the first one, other ones start to grow. It's weird. But I've got a blossom on here, I've got a bud over there. That's about it. Slow starts, but that's okay. This big boy, it's like a beef eater. Still not even, it hasn't grown, it hasn't turned colors, it hasn't put off any more flowers that have done anything. Don't know. Don't worry, guys. Those of you that are waiting for the big thing, it'll be here in just a minute. This big boy, I don't even know. Like, it's alive, clearly, but who knows. This is our super sweet cherry. Not quite ready for that one. We've picked a couple off of that already this week. No buds in here. No buds over there. That's okay. Now, for the big thing that I did, which has made a huge difference. You remember that I'm going to put a picture up on the screen now, that this is what my cucumbers used to look like, all overgrown and overflowing with weeds and grass and all that kind of stuff. Well, we started looking this week and noticed there were a couple of cucumbers that were actually starting to grow, and we thought they were our first. And then I went through and found out that they weren't our first. So this morning I spent a good hour clearing out, because this is what it looks like now. Like, I know you can still see some grass and stuff, but now it's much easier to come down here and be like, oh, there's a baby cucumber, there's a baby cucumber, you know, and you can go through here and actually see things, and you don't have to move weeds out of the way. And when you can do that, you can find all this stuff that you missed. That's what I just found this morning. Now, this one is not quite as ready as I'd have liked. Like, it's still a little soft on the end, but I think cucumbers are still safe to eat that way. So I'm going to take those in when I'm done recording out here. And then my disappointing little zucchinis. Like, I think it's either the shade or the soil that's doing these in, because they're big, they've got lots of foliage, so they're at least getting that much. And I know it's not a case of over nutrient. what do they call it? Overfeeding, basically. Because the soil doesn't have enough anything to overfeed anything. I mean, look at it, it's cracked. But, I don't know, I think a big part of it is sunlight. Because you got these great big leaves ready to catch the sun, but it's filtered sun all day. Like all day. I don't know how these guys manage to get this big, but they do. So yeah, there's that. Oh, and for those of you that are still here, 2 more announcements. Let me go up front first, and I'll show you how those plants are doing. Okay, up front now. This plant, you can see, it's gotten big. It's got lots of leaves. It's got a couple of buds. There it is. I'm pretty sure going to start producing peppers soon. Got a blossom over there. It's doing good. Like, it's loving all this sun that it gets up here. My little flower, I've been watering it every day. I figure maybe part of it is it needs to be established. You know, it has to actually get its roots into the ground before it can deal with the drought. But you can see new growth, positive growth. So 3 cheers for me, right? Right. And you know what, just because he's been in every video, here's that guy. Again, let's see this. That doesn't make any sense, because this guy gets lots of sun, and he's still doing bad. Maybe he gets too much sun. I don't know. Hang on, one more update, guys. Okay, I'm back. Our last big announcement for the day is kind of a sad announcement. Well, it comes in a sad way. Hera, go away. Leave him alone. Hey. Fine. So we have a new addition to the family. And his name is Oscar. We just brought him home last night. And for those of you that have multi-pet homes, you know that there is a break-in period with even a normal situation. But Oscar here, poor old man that he is, I say old man, he is about 6 years old. He's warming up to us. But recently, Wednesday, as a matter of fact, my wife and I lost a dear friend of ours. I've known her since I was like 5 years old or younger. But she was Oscar's mom, and no one in her family was willing or able, depending on the person. Like, you got an over-the-road trucker, you know, woman in a nursing home, and, you know, stuff like that. You know, not exactly able to take on pets. Although, lucky for us, he is already spayed. Or not spayed, he's neutered. He is already neutered, and he is fully declawed. So, he can't be just let loose and expected to be a cat. Although he is, I don't know how well you can see it, he is a big cat. Like, look at the size of his head. Say hello, Oscar. So, anyway, yeah. That's what's going on around here. And that's my update for, what day is it? I don't even know. What day is it? July the 9th. I knew that. Well, until next time, everyone. God bless.